In the vast, windswept plains of Montana, where the sky stretched endlessly like a canvas painted with hues of blue and gold, there lived a young woman named Emily Harper, 25 years old, with hair as dark as the midnight shadows that cloaked the family ranch every evening. The Harper Ranch had been in her family for generations, a sprawling expanse of rolling hills, grazing cattle, and weathered barns that whispered tales of hard work and hidden secrets. Emily's father, John Harper, was a man of few words, his face etched with lines from years under the relentless sun, his hands calloused from wrangling steers and mending fences. He had raised Emily alone after her mother passed away in a tragic accident when Emily was just a child, a fall from a horse that no one spoke of anymore, as if silence could bury the pain. John was the pillar of their world, or so it seemed, managing the ranch with an iron fist and a quiet demeanor that bordered on brooding. Emily helped where she could, tending to the horses, cooking meals in the old kitchen with its creaking wooden floors, but lately, something had shifted in the air, a tension that hung like storm clouds on the horizon. It started subtly, a few months back, when Emily began noticing odd sounds in the night, the soft creak of floorboards outside her bedroom door, the faint rustle of fabric, and then the door easing open just a crack. At first, she dismissed it as the old house settling, or perhaps the wind playing tricks, but then she felt it. A presence in the room, heavy breathing that wasn't her own, and eyes watching her in the darkness. She would lie there, frozen under her quilts, pretending to sleep, her heart pounding like a trapped bird, until the intruder retreated as silently as he had come. Night after night, it persisted, growing bolder, a hand brushing her arm, a whisper she couldn't quite make out, leaving her skin crawling and her mind racing with fear. Who could it be? The ranch was isolated, miles from the nearest neighbor, and the only other soul on the property was her father, sleeping, or so she thought, in the room down the hall. Doubt crept in like ivy, twisting around her thoughts. Could it be him? Her own father, the man who had bandaged her scraped knees as a girl, who taught her to ride and shoot. It seemed impossible, yet the evidence mounted. One night, she caught a glimpse in the moonlight filtering through her curtains, a silhouette that matched John's broad shoulders, his familiar limp from an old injury. Terror gripped her, but shame kept her silent. Who would believe such an accusation against a respected rancher like John Harper? She confided in no one, enduring the invasions with growing dread, until one fateful afternoon when she could bear it no longer. Tears streaming down her face, she rode out to the edge of the property where the ranch hand, a rugged man named Silas Thorne, was mending a broken fence. Silas was in his 40s, with a weathered face framed by a scruffy beard, eyes sharp as a hawk's, and a reputation in the small town nearby as a no-nonsense worker who had drifted from ranch to ranch after a stint in the military. He wasn't family, but he had been with the Harpers for years, a silent guardian of the land, and Emily had always felt a quiet kinship with him, perhaps because he listened without judgment. As she dismounted her horse, her voice broke. "Silas, I don't know who else to tell. My father sneaks in every night," she cried, collapsing against the fence post, her body racked with sobs. Silas froze, hammer in hand, his face paling as the words sank in. Shock didn't begin to describe it. He had respected John, worked under him without question, but this revelation shattered everything. "What do you mean, sneaks in?" he asked, his voice low and steady, though his mind reeled. Emily poured it out. The creaks, the shadows, the touches that left her feeling violated and alone. Silas listened, his jaw tightening, a storm brewing in his eyes. He had seen things in his past, horrors from war that haunted him, but this was different, closer, a betrayal in the heart of home. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the fields, Silas promised to help, to watch and uncover the truth, but deep down, a resolve formed in him, something dark and unbreakable. That night, Silas hid in the barn loft with a clear view of the house, rifle at his side, not loaded, he told himself, just in case. Hours ticked by in agonizing silence, the stars wheeling overhead, until he saw it, John's figure slipping from his room, down the hall, pausing at Emily's door. The door opened, and Silas's blood ran cold as he imagined what transpired inside. Rage boiled up, memories of his own sister's suffering years ago at the hands of a trusted figure flashing before him. He couldn't stand by, the unthinkable took shape in his mind. Slipping from the loft, he approached the house like a ghost, entering through the back door he knew was unlocked. The hallway was dim, lit only by a sliver of moonlight, and he heard muffled sounds from Emily's room, a gasp, a whisper. Heart pounding, Silas burst in, confronting John in the act, the older man's face twisted in surprise and guilt. "You monster," Silas growled, and in that moment, reason fled. He grabbed John by the collar, dragging him out into the night, away from Emily's horrified eyes. They struggled in the dirt, fists flying, until Silas, stronger from years of labor, pinned him down. The unthinkable happened then. Silas's hands closed around John's throat, squeezing with a fury born of justice and vengeance, ignoring the pleas, the gasps, until life ebbed away under the cold stars. Panting, Silas stared at the body, shock mixing with a grim satisfaction. He had crossed a line, become a killer, but for Emily, it was freedom. Dragging the body to the old well behind the barn, he disposed of it, covering his tracks with the skill of a man who knew the land. Returning to the house, he found Emily trembling, and he held her, whispering that it was over, that her father would never hurt her again. In the days that followed, they crafted a story. John had left in the night, abandoning the ranch, a note forged in his hand. The town whispered, but no one questioned deeply. John had always been reclusive. Emily and Silas grew closer, the ranch thriving under their care, a bond forged in darkness blooming into something tentative and real. But Silas carried the secret, the weight of the unthinkable act, a shadow that lingered.